Yeah, so Clark stole our presentation. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff, which is, I guess it's a food thing, right? So does anybody in here like bacon? Anyone? Okay. So we are the largest independent bacon manufacturer in the United States. We have 6 sites. We're privately held, did about $650 million in sales last year. We are the biggest producer of bacon toppings. We're the biggest producer of turkey bacon. If you eat bacon, you eat our products. So at our 6 sites, we've got basically 3 bacon sites in Washington, Courthouse, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, and Frontenac, Kansas. We have a plant in Cambridge City, Indiana, that is our show plant, but I'm not going to talk about it today because I've only got 15 minutes, and that would take about 3 hours. And we've got 2 packaging facilities in Cincinnati, Ohio. One of those, Craig Langhals here, is our plant manager. And that's the project we're going to talk about. We've won a couple accolades from food engineering and refrigerated and frozen foods. We're growing at an extreme pace. So 3 years ago when I joined SugarCreek, we had no data. We had data. We had a lot of Excel data. We had a lot of chicken scratch data. We had pencil and paper data. We had no SCADA system. My background's automotive. I had no idea for the first 21 years of my career. I was extremely spoiled. When I got out of automotive and realized that everybody didn't do what we did, we decided that we were going to make SugarCreek into an automotive facility. So we started implementing ignition at all of our sites. So we started this basically 2.5 years ago. So far, we've got 5 of our 6 sites connected. We're connected to 14,000 tags, 10 databases, 5 sites. We do control and data acquisition at 2 of our sites. We just do data acquisition at the others. We run refrigeration systems, wastewater treatment systems, facility systems. We actually do shipping and receiving logistics. We do a little bit of everything with it. It's an awesome tool. So we're going to talk about our Cincinnati plant and a line that Tyson was nice enough to drop in our laps and make us run.
Well, the problem statement, I was actually brought into the Cincinnati facility not as the plant manager at the time, but as basically a consultant from another one of our facilities. Tyson obviously wanted to know why their line wasn't performing to the standards that they had created for us. I mean, there was 60 trays a minute was the target for this line, and we were always running 55, 54, and unable to tell them where those minutes were going. So the plant manager at the time was spending about 6 hours every Sunday sorting through paperwork and downtime sheets and whatever he could come up with and creating
reasons that really didn't exist to
right,
be able to explain to Tyson why we couldn't meet their goals.
Right.
So the products, they hate when we call them Lunchables, but it's basically it's a Hillshire Lunchable. It's this little snack tray. The line is simple, right? You should not need data collection on a simple line. You should be able to look at it and understand how it works. This is the overview of the line. So you've got basically trays that denest. We've got 2 scales that drop 2 products each into the tray. It goes to a tray sealer, goes into pack off. Doesn't get any easier than this, right? So Craig heard that we'd done this stuff with ignition and other plants, and really I didn't care about Cincinnati because it was a little tiny plant. We were doing all the big plants, but he cared. So he called and said, hey, can you come here and do whatever you're doing over there and put the system in place to allow us to run better? So we did. So we went in, and the primary things we wanted were downtime reduction and weight control. And the weight control came afterwards. So I spent basically 2 months in Cincinnati, and Craig kept going, well, can it do this? Well, can it do this? And it scope creep. That guy was scope creep. So what we ended up with is this. So this is a dashboard for the line. And I'm going to go in and detail a little bit of what this is. But we did, basically green is good. So green means it's running. We've got our targets, we've got our weight targets, we've got interactive Paretos, we've got downtime reasons, we've got everything. And this is the law of the Cincinnati plant. We have this on huge displays in the office, and everybody knows in real time what's going on for a shift. We also have a ton of historical reporting, which I don't go into at this presentation because, again, 15 minutes. So the key for downtime is real-time event coding. So when we first put this in, we had all the alarms that were configured that could stop the line, and we had them all thrown automatically into ignition. Well, when you have one event like an e-stop, you'll get like 30 alarms. So you got a whole bunch of noise in the downtime table. So we dropped it back and said, okay, it's maintenance, production, it's an interlock. There's about 6 different automatic codes that'll come in. And then we have a guy on the floor that's coding in real time what the real problem was. So if there's a scale interlock issue, I don't know the machine doesn't know what's the matter with the scale. It could be clump meat, it could be, any number of things. So they'll go in, pick from a downtime reason code list what the issue was, and then what that allows you to do is where we are. And actually, this is a decent day. The yellow's bad, but it's not because, as he said, the target was 60 and we're running at 76. He upped the target to 80 just because he's a plant manager and he can do that.
That's what's in the bomb.
Exactly. So
the great part about the interactive Pareto part there is when I sell this to the people on the floor and I sell it to the maintenance techs, basically this is my management tool, but it's also their management tool. And as you click on the downtime events or the downtime Paretos, it's basically, to me, it's the operator speaking to the technician, but he doesn't have to be on the floor to do it. So the maintenance technicians should be and do manage this. They look at the screen, everybody has it on their computers, so they can go in, they can drill down on the downtime code, and then they can go down and drill down again to see if it's how many times it's happened. So is it something that's just nailing me a bunch of small times, which drives an operator crazy, or is it a one-time event that was 60 minutes? So they should be looking at this all throughout the day, managing, and then going out to the floor and fixing. So.
Next. So this is interesting. Right out of the gate, the blue line on this is kind of a busy chart, but the blue line is the gross speed of the machine. The red line is our net rate. So when we started up, we figured make the machine go faster, you'll get more. Well, that's not necessarily so. Our biggest issue was micro stops. It was little tiny stops. So what we did is we said, well, what happens if you slow the machine down? Well, we doubled our productivity by slowing the machine down. And then once we got the issues resolved, we turned the machine up and the net rate come up with it. So being able to have the visibility to, not just the downtime, but your rate and how it affects everything. Then we get into weights. This is Craig's baby.
Yeah. Well, I was also looking at other things on the line, not responsible for just throughput, but material variance getting crushed in our plant when Tyson's not paying for it. We are then, is not good. So I knew it was in giveaway. I spent time on the floor. I talked to people. So I, of course, had to go to the QA department and gather 30 days worth of net weight information.
On paper, handwritten.
Handwritten, 10 checks every hour, average. So I was compiling this data, of course, because I'm an idiot and I don't know anything about
Craig really likes data. Excel. I really don't.
So I'm entering all this information. Dan says, what in the hell are you doing? Because I'm pulling my hair out. So I know it's in giveaway. I'm going to figure it out. I just got to get this data. And he says, why don't you just have him put it in ignition? And I said, can you do that? And he goes, yeah. So I went to lunch and I came back and I gave him one of these, hey, hotshot, got that done yet? And he was like, yeah, actually I do. So took him 1 hour to come up with this, and then we start playing around with it. And then literally in 3 days.
So this process, to understand, we got crackers in, and it was 6 crackers. We had no control of the weight of the crackers. Now, from the food manufacturing, we need the net weight to be right. So if the crackers are light, then we had to make up it was something. Now, Craig in his infinite wisdom decided to make up with the most expensive component in the tray, which was sausage.
That was what I was chasing.
So we found out that they were running the meat high to make up for the crackers that we couldn't control. So right out of the gate, and again, that's one shift. The next day, they said, nope, we're going to run this thing will work. The cheese high dropped the meat back down. So now the material variance is good. And then Craig went to work on the supplier and beat him up a little bit and said, oh, by the way, the spec is to be a little bit heavier than you're sending us. So they sent us the right chips, and everything was well in the world. So the results of this whole project, we doubled production on the line. We're running we've got 3 of these lines in place right now. 3 different products are slightly different. We run faster than Tyson does. We run to better weight controls than Tyson does. They've got one of these lines in one of their facilities. Everybody's using the system. We have full buy-in from management, from the maintenance techs, from everybody. We're saving $40,000 a month in product that was going out the door as giveaway. And that's pretty much it. It worked. It's a great system.
It's awesome.
So that's pretty much the end of the presentation. It says Quentin's, it said questions. I guess I changed it to thank you.